Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. One of the things that I've noticed people are starting to do since they aren't seeing one another is write letters to stay in touch with people. Everybody loves to get a card or a letter in the mail from somebody that they know, especially when it's not a bill. Ask your parents, they'll tell you they really enjoy that. And so we're going to just do a quick review on how to write a letter and how to address an envelope. And so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to put the date up at the top right. And today is April 28th, 2020. And then we need to have a salutation, meaning we have to greet the person that we are writing to. And so you probably could say, "Dear," and if you write this to me, which we'll talk about what will the options be here in a little bit. But then you might say, "Dear Mrs. Davis," and you might say, "I really miss school." And then you might say, "It is really difficult for me to get my work done at home." If you're anything like my kids, they all say, "I would rather be at school." They also say that they miss their friends. So you might say, "I miss seeing my friends." If you notice, we have to keep our punctuation, start each sentence with a capital. Also, I'm going to just kind of put a little star so that you know that you have to indent the first sentence of your first paragraph and every paragraph after that. And so something else you might do then, we finished our introduction, then you might say, "This week," oops, we did that in red. We want to do that. I'm going to go back to the black here for writing. Remember, that's another thing. Remember that your writing needs to be in black or blue. No colors. So I'll remind you that here when I write the directions out. But black or blue for your writing. That's it. You might say, "Lately, I have spent time with my family playing board games." You might also say, "We go on bike rides." Just tell me some of the activities you're doing. Maybe puzzles. Puzzles are another way. That you might spend your time. Okay, so just tell me some things that you've been doing the last couple of weeks. And then have a closing. Maybe your closing is, "I hope to see you soon." Now, if you're writing this to, say, your grandma, your mom, your dad, an aunt, an uncle, a grandpa, somebody that you're close with, a family friend, you might say "love." If it's somebody that you don't know that well or you're not as close to, then you would say "sincerely," and then you would sign your name. So maybe I would put Billy Bob. Okay. Okay, so that's what a letter looks like. And as you can see, we have the date, we have a greeting, we have the salutation at the end, We have information with an introduction. And so that's what that looks like. Okay, the next part of our lesson is going to be how do we address an envelope. So I've shown you the back and the front side of an envelope. And this part, I'm going to do this in red because I want you to be able to see this part. That right there is the top. So all I did was flip it around so that this part is on the top right there. Okay. So right here, which I'm going to move this over just a little bit just so I can write, the top part is where you put the return address. So let's say if you have the wrong address of the person you're sending it to, then the post office needs to know where they should send it back to. And so that is called a return address. And so for the return address, what I would do is maybe I would put Mrs. Bowen, if she sent it to me. And then I put the name, your address. I put her name, Mrs. Bowen. Then I put the address, which I'm using the school's address. So we're going to put 3431 North 400 West. So that is the address. Then we have our city, which is Kokomo, Indiana 46901. Now for you, this right here would be your address, because if you are sending it, then it needs to come back to you if it doesn't make it to the person that you plan to send it to. Okay, so let's say Mrs. Bowen is sending me a letter. So then she would put Mrs. Davis and where she would mail it to. Okay, so I'm not using my home address. I am going to use the school's address. So the return address and the address it's going to are going to be the same on this envelope, but that's not how it would be on yours. So she would mail it to the school, so 3431 North 400 West. And that's in Kokomo, Indiana 46901. So that's what my envelope should look like. And then there's one last thing that I need to the right here. Right there, this little spot right here, that is where the stamp goes. Okay? So just to review, the return address is your address. And then this address in this spot right here is where you are sending it. And then we have the place for the stamp. Okay, so that's what it looks like to have a letter. And then you would fold that letter up and put it into the envelope. And then you'll have to get a stamp from the post office. I believe they're around 50 cents. And then you'd pop that in the mail. And you can even put it in your mailbox, but you have to put the flag up to let the post office know, the postman know, that they need to take that out of your mailbox. So the part of your assignment is you're going to write a letter and address an envelope. I'm going to give you a picture of the envelope so that if you don't actually have an envelope, you can just do it right on the picture. And then you're going to write a letter, and then you're going to take a picture of both of those, or you'll submit your letter and your envelope for your points. Now, the extra credit comes that if you mail a letter to me and I get that letter next week before grades are due, then I will give you bonus points. Okay? So the bonus, which we're going to add down here, is to actually mail me the letter. So that's the bonus. Okay, so the assignment is to write the letter and address the envelope. The bonus is for you to actually mail the letter and that I actually received the letter at the school. So remember, you would mail it to the address that I have right there, but make sure that your address is in the return address section. Okay, if you have questions, I'm on Google Meet tomorrow from 10 to 11, and I will talk to you all later on.